A house divided. Introducing Cooper versus Blackman. The year is 2005. The setting is a courtroom inn. You must choose a country where this law applies. A seemingly ordinary house has become the center of a heated legal battle. This is the story of Cooper versus Blackman, a case that captivated the nation with its intricate details and profound implications for property rights. On one side stood the claimant, choose a gender-neutral name for Cooper, determined to secure what they believed was rightfully theirs. On the other side stood the defendant, choose a gender-neutral name for Blackman, equally resolute in defending their claim to the property. At the heart of this dispute was a fundamental question: who truly owns a house built on leased land? The answer, as the court would soon discover, was far from simple. This case delved into the complexities of property law, examining long-held assumptions and challenging traditional notions of ownership. The stakes were high, with both sides standing to gain or lose a significant asset. As the trial unfolded, the courtroom became a stage for a clash of legal arguments and personal testimonies. The judge, tasked with unraveling this intricate web of claims and counterclaims, faced a formidable challenge. Cooper versus Blackman was more than just a property dispute. It was a testament to the enduring power of family legacies, the complexities of legal interpretations, and the profound impact of court decisions on the lives of ordinary people. To understand the crux of Cooper versus Blackman, we must journey back in time, delving into the history of the disputed property. The land on which the house stood was not owned outright, but held under a leasehold system. This meant that an individual or entity held the right to occupy and use the land for a specified period, after which it would revert back to the original owner. In this case, the lease for the land had been granted generations ago to choose either Blackman or Cooper's ancestor, setting in motion a chain of events that would culminate in the courtroom showdown years later. The original leaseholder, driven by the desire to establish a home for their family, constructed a house on the leased land. This house, initially a symbol of hope and prosperity, would become the epicenter of a bitter legal battle decades later. Over time, the leasehold changed hands, passing down through generations of the last name of the person who originally got the lease, family. The house, a silent witness to the passage of time, remained standing, its walls absorbing the memories of the families who called it home. However, the passage of time also brought with it a crucial legal question. What would happen to the house once the original lease expired? This question, seemingly straightforward, lay at the heart of Cooper versus Blackman. The answer would determine not only the fate of the house, but also the legacy of the families who had poured their hopes and dreams into its very foundation. Generations at odds, unraveling the family tree. The passage of time had not only impacted the property itself, but had also woven a complex tapestry of familial relationships. The original leaseholder, long gone by the time the case reached the courts, had left behind a lineage that now found itself on opposing sides of the courtroom. Choose Cooper or Blackman was a direct descendant of the original leaseholder, their claim to the house rooted in the legacy passed down through generations. Choose Blackman or Cooper, on the other hand, argued that the passage of time and subsequent legal transactions had granted them rightful ownership of the property, despite not being directly descended from the original leaseholder. The courtroom became a stage for a family drama, where the ties that bound were overshadowed by the weight of legal arguments and the pursuit of rightful ownership. Adding another layer of complexity to the case, was the emotional value attached to the house. For both sides, it was more than just bricks and mortar. It was a repository of memories, a tangible link to their shared ancestry. The courtroom walls seemed to echo with the whispers of generations past, their hopes, dreams, and struggles woven into the very fabric of the case. The judge, tasked with remaining impartial amidst this emotional maelstrom, faced the daunting challenge of separating legal principles from familial sentiments. Cooper versus Blackman served as a stark reminder that property disputes, often perceived as dry and technical, are frequently intertwined with deeply personal narratives that shape the course of legal battles. Section 4. The battle begins. Cooper's claim and Blackman's defense. With the stage set and the historical context established, the legal battle commenced in earnest. Cooper, armed with a profound belief in their rightful claim, argued that the house, being built by their ancestor, rightfully belonged to them. They argued that the lease, while granting use of the land, did not extinguish their ancestral claim to the structure erected upon it. Their legal team emphasized the concept of beneficial ownership, asserting that even though the land was leased, the house itself was the fruit of their ancestors' labor and investment, and should therefore remain within the family. Blackman, however, presented a counter-narrative, emphasizing the legal principle of statutory tenancy. Their defense rested on the argument that with the passage of time and the evolution of property laws, they had acquired legal ownership of the house, regardless of the original lease agreement. They pointed to legal precedents and shifts in statutory interpretations to bolster their claim, arguing that the law, as it stood at the time of the lawsuit, favoured their ownership. The courtroom became a battleground of legal interpretations, with both sides presenting compelling arguments rooted in legal precedent and evolving statutory frameworks. Cooper's team invoked the enduring power of family legacies and the significance of ancestral contributions, while Blackman's team stressed the importance of adhering to current legal interpretations and respecting the evolution of property rights over time. The judge, caught between these competing narratives, was tasked with not just interpreting the letter of the law, but also grappling with its spirit and its impact on the lives of those standing before the court. Cooper versus Blackman was a stark reminder that legal battles are not merely abstract exercises in legal theory, but rather deeply personal struggles with very real consequences for the individuals involved. Section 5. Legal linchpins, statutory tenancy and beneficial ownership. At the heart of Cooper versus Blackman lay two contrasting legal concepts: statutory tenancy and beneficial ownership. Understanding these principles is crucial to grasping the complexities of the case and the rationale behind the court's ultimate decision. Statutory tenancy, a cornerstone of property law, grants tenants certain rights and protections, even in cases where the original lease agreement has expired. Blackman, in their defense, leaned heavily on this concept, arguing that the passage of time and the evolution of property laws had effectively transformed their occupancy into a statutory tenancy. This, they contended, granted them legal ownership of the house, superseding any claims based on the original lease agreement. Cooper, however, countered with the concept of beneficial ownership. This principle, deeply rooted in equity law, acknowledges that an individual may hold certain rights and interests in a property even without possessing formal legal title. They argued that their ancestor, by investing their labour and resources in constructing the house, had established beneficial ownership, a right that transcended the limitations of the lease agreement. The clash between these two legal principles formed the crux of the case. The judge, faced with the daunting task of reconciling these competing claims, had to delve into the intricacies of property law, examining legal precedents and interpreting statutory language to arrive at a just and equitable decision. Section 6. Justice served. The court's decision. After weeks of intense legal arguments, compelling witness testimonies, and careful deliberation, the judge was ready to deliver the verdict. The courtroom, thick with anticipation, held its breath as the judge began to read their decision. In a landmark ruling that reverberated throughout the legal community, the court ruled in favor of Cooper. The judge, in their decision, acknowledged the complexities of the case, recognizing the validity of both statutory tenancy and beneficial ownership as legal concepts. However, they ultimately ruled that the unique circumstances of the case, specifically the historical context of the lease agreement and the ancestral link between Cooper and the disputed property, warranted a decision in favor of the claimant. The court found that, while Blackman's arguments regarding statutory tenancy held merit, they did not supersede the compelling evidence supporting Cooper's claim of beneficial ownership. The judge emphasized that the house, as a tangible manifestation of the original leaseholder's labor and investment, held a unique position within the legal framework. It was not merely an incidental structure, but rather an integral part of the legacy passed down through generations. The court's decision in Cooper v. Blackman served as a powerful reminder that legal principles, while essential, must be applied with a nuanced understanding of individual circumstances and historical contexts. The case underscored the enduring power of ancestral ties and the importance of recognizing beneficial ownership as a legitimate legal concept, even in the face of evolving statutory frameworks.